You're listening to a Loot Dummies podcast, lootdummies.com. Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons and Dummies, a weekly podcast following a group of friends as they battle across a homebrewed world called Antiriath in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Step into the mystical world of Antiriath and follow as our party of dummies adventure across the lands. Tolly Grug, half orc, half fighter, the Mystery, played by Taylor. The Eclarian Shadow, half elf ranger from the Eclarian Mountains, played by Seth. And a Learlock Bloodhair, a Harengon cleric, played by Joey. Last but not least, the creator of our beautiful world, the man of many voices, and our dungeon master, Sam.
Hey, so my game that I run has been on a break for like, I don't know, a month. And we haven't played in like a month.
I know.
I don't remember how to play.
Y'all better read through your abilities.
We haven't played in a month. It said May 23rd on Tailspire when I opened
Last
Steam.
time you booted Tailspire?
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all best read through those abilities.
I have so much shit now.
You do. I was looking at everybody's sheets earlier today.
Nothing compared to Joey, but still a lot.
Well, y'all's items are overwhelming. I was literally just looking at everybody's inventory and was like, oh my God, they have so much stuff. Oh, but speaking of, you still have a +1 shield in your inventory, Taylor.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
mine.
Either
just
you
kidding.
nor
I'll take it
Joey
out.
needs to delete it.
I'll take it out. I'm just kidding.
Good
I
God.
guess I'll take it out. I need to add a regular shield. I was listening back to some of our episodes, and I'll use my superiority die like for an episode, and then like the next episode I'll use my spells more, and then like the next step, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm ready when y'all are.
Oh, you guys.
I don't know what y'all are talking about reading through your inventories and spells. I remember everything like it was last week.
When do I get third level spells? Do I get third level spells at level 5?
Sorcerer level 5. Yeah, so next level.
Ooh la la.
I'm sure y'all have forgotten, but the last thing that happened when we played was Joey fucking reached in and twisted my brain up without my
What?
consent.
Wait, the last thing that happened was the communion?
Nope.
Not the communion,
A Learlock reached in and modified my
memory.
Oh,
Shadow's
yeah,
memory.
I have a note here. Modify memory with 2 exclamation marks on my little calendar.
I need a recap.
Could you say that we need a
Beautiful. That was beautiful.
So the previous session was literally half a page.
Well, maybe take us back a little bit.
Take us back. Take us back a little. Take us a little trip down old unstable lane.
Do you want fast? Do you want
Recap road.
concise? Do you want
I want
accurate? Do
I
you
want
want
it
detailed?
I want it fast and loose.
fast and loose. I
Well,
want it
every
fast and
time I do
hard.
fast and loose,
I don't want it
y'all
fast and loose.
go, this is the most unhinged recap of all time.
The last few have
Immediately
been perfection. Calm and tight.
Calm and tight.
Concise.
These are some very choice words
Yeah.
for a recap.
Are you freaking Tina Turner up in here? We doing Proud Mary?
Recap!
Oh, sounds like it's gonna be.
So,
Like,
on the 40th
barky.
of Harvest at 10 a.m., we crossed the Velkavoden, successfully defeating the trolls and take a long rest. Trolls.
That was
Giants.
2.5 days ago.
On the 41st, we awake to a 55-degree sunny and windy day and approach Bolvag's stone giant fortress, but there's not much activity. We see some feline tracks from a Sabretooth, and that's about it, but Shadow senses that there's a problem, so the party investigates the giant's fortress. At which point, they find Bolvag as she narrowly misses Shadow with her great axe, and she reports that the frost giants wiped out the stone giants. We agree to meet back at Bolvag's fortress in 4 days' time. But in the meantime, she's going to travel briefly with us while the party heads towards Shadow's family home. At which point, the party encounters a blinding light running through the snow, and it's the Sabretooths who have been modified and are unstable. At that point, Alirlock does some luck magic with Shadow's rolls, and Shadow and Talik start whipping and shitting on Sabretooth as Bolvag just pummels any Sabretooth that gets close to her. And the DM gave Shadow a poofed pants condition. So all the Sabretooths are dead, and Bolvag leaves the party. And then we have 3 days remaining to meet Bolvag back at her fort. On the same day in the afternoon, Shadow finds a stream for some water, and we encounter Shadow's adopted father and mother. It's a pretty great reunion with Elark and Marley Woodelven. Talik and Alirlock are flabbergasted, to say the least. Elark says the frost giants are behaving strangely, and some awkward familial encounters ensue in the cabin that the Wood Elvens live in. Marley says that Hishinog, the white dragon, has been spending time in the tower that we are headed to. This is an adult white dragon, mind you. Early the next morning, the 42nd of Harvest, around 6 a.m., we have breakfast with the Wood Elvens. Talik chats with Marley. It is chilly in this part of the mountain, 35 degrees and sunny, as we head north towards Rising Sun Tower. We see some glittering snow moths with golden glitter on them. Shadow touches one and a gold pile falls out of it. Not much interest in that. Shadow walks away, and I believe Alirlock and maybe also Talik do a little moth touching and get some gold powder from them. At which point, the party continues on and runs into some ice toads, and they just frankly want some warm meat in their gullets, so they start trying to eat us. Talik hits the first toad with a firebolt, which really screws with it. Toad eats one of the moths, and another tries to eat Shadow. Alirlock gets sucked off by a toad, but is able to get loose.
Yes!
A toad is able to bite Shadow, at which point Talik has melded him and his horse underground and is just cruising along like fucking Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas going through the desert. He's just cruising through the mud.
That's a very specific reference.
Can't stop here. This is Frog Country.
That's right.
Oh my god.
So, with some weirdness at that point, the party escapes from the toads and continues on, but is upset because as they're leaving, Shadow gets bitten by one of the toads and lashes out in a reflex action, which kills the toad. Shadow is full of remorse about this toad, and the party finds a standing stone, but the top has fallen off of it. There's a symbol carved on the top piece. It's the symbol of Saloon, the moon goddess. After looking at the stone, Shadow's still just super upset about the toad, so Alirlock casts Modify Memory and changes things to where Shadow forgets the death of the toad completely and just makes it so that Shadow believes the party escaped without any of the innocent animals coming to harm. At which point, Shadow is happy and gleefully continues on his way, and Talik is, I don't know how Talik is, baffled, confused, concerned, indifferent, unsure. And that was the end of the last time we played. So we would be bedding down at that point for camp. And I think the Modified Memory may have happened at camp before a long rest. So assuming that we're successful in a long rest, we'll be beginning at 6 a.m. on the 43rd of Harvest. A day's ride from Rising.
Beautiful. What was the words you wanted?
Splendid.
Concise.
Splendid.
Tight and concise.
Concise.
It was perfect. It was exactly what was requested. I feel refreshed and recapped, as do all of your players as you make it through the night unharmed.
Long rest.
So as we bed down for the night, Talik is going to reach into the bag of holding and pull out this strange little 5-gallon jug size, like copper still that you would see like to make moonshine or something. And he's going to set it up near the fire, set it over the fire, heat it up. It's got this little coiled copper pipe coming out of it. And he's going to use his brewer's kit, and he is going to try and attempt to turn one of these relic sloth claws into a greater potion of healing.
Okay. And I think you got all the rules for that on the relic sloth claw, or you need me to look them up?
Yeah, I've got it. It's a DC 10 intelligence check.
Yeah, and I said you can add your proficiency bonus since you have proficiency with the brewing tools.
Yep. And yeah, what is that?
I think it's 4 for the level y'all are at. It should be on your sheet. It's like
I was gonna say, is it gonna?
It's near
be
your
on there
AC.
automatically?
No, it probably won't be on there automatically.
Okay, let me just double
it's up
check
by your
that.
speed on your sheet.
Oh, it's +4.
+4. Yeah, so your intelligence is -1, and your proficiency is +4, so it'll be a +3 to the roll.
Okay, I'm gonna roll it up.
All right.
I'm just gonna roll like investigation because that's easier. Oh no! 4. Oh, 10.
10. There you go. Proficiency, man.
So I brew up a potion of greater healing, and I will. How are you guys looking on potions? Shadow, Learlock. I'm holding a potion of greater healing. So do y'all have one?
And Greater's the pretty good one, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, it's the level 2 basically.
Yeah.
I currently have a greater.
I have some potions.
You guys both are good. Then I'll just hang it from my belt and add another potion of greater healing.
Awesome.
It takes an hour, so I figure I'll just do one.
Once a night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it'd eat into your adventuring day and
My
everything.
rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. Anybody else want to do anything over the rest?
No.
Why not?
Okay. So yeah, y'all wake up on the morning of the 43rd, and y'all are pretty far up in the mountains now. I don't know if anybody's pulled up the Harpy, but y'all are 1 square away, so half a day's travel from the Rising Sun Tower, and y'all wake up and it's cold. We're talking low of 5 degrees with a wind chill of -5. There's just a little bit of snow blowing, a little bit of wind, and it is hella cold. Y'all are actually going to be going over the peak today. Joey, you have the most even distribution of ability scores I think I've ever seen. I just looked at your sheet. You have +2, +2, +2, +2, +3, +1.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
Mine is
Thanks.
not like that. I have 2 -1s.
But then a +5.
Yeah. And 3,
Or, I'm
and the others
sorry,
are
I
all
don't know what
+3.
to say to that.
No, it's just, I like it. It means that you're a well-rounded character. Versatile.
Yeah.
I had never noticed before.
Well, now you have.
Now I have, and now I commented on it, and now we can move on with our day.
Moving on.
Okay, moving on. So, like I said, hella cold today. That'll be an extra food, but yeah. I mean, if you guys, I'll leave it up to you guys. But if y'all want to,
It's
move,
5 degrees.
Yeah, 5 degrees is the low today.
Ooh.
Boy.
Sunny, windy, cloudy.
A little bit of wind, light snow.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why the wind chill is -5. It is brutal, but I mean, y'all are literally going over the peaks of the highest mountains in the lands today, so the roll is actually really applicable.
Talik's got like his bedroll wrapped around his neck and like his face buried, and
Actually,
he's just
hold
miserable.
on, let me double check something, because that might be cold enough that it is like a different rule.
Don't you dare.
I think there's a rule for extreme cold and like having to roll Constitution saves, but I can't find it, so y'all are off the hook. I wasn't prepared. Yeah, I mean, I assume y'all are headed to the Rising Sun Tower 1 square away, but if y'all want to do something else, y'all let me know which way you want to head.
I'm following Shadow.
All right, guys. My mams said that the dragon Hishinog had been roaming around. I say we find us a nice little hole to tuck back in and watch for a little bit and see what we can see. So how many hours are we from the tower?
It'd be a half a day's travel. So, assuming an 8-hour travel day, you'd be 4 hours from it.
Okay.
So-
Can we see it yet?
No, it's like 2 hours to the peak, and then be like, you looking at the map, you assume it's another 2 hours down from the peak.
Okay, so we want to get up the peak and then maybe a little bit down the other side and find a spot to tuck ourselves in and watch.
Sure. Okay. So you guys travel up the peak. I mean, wind just cold, bitter day. You make it up to the peak, and like I said, there's a little bit of precipitation, so it's not super clear. But at this point, you're 12 miles from it, so you can see it off in the distance, just barely, just this silhouette of a tower from the peak.
Okay, we're gonna get about 4 miles from it.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys make your way down the mountainside. As you do, you get a little bit more level with it, so it's kind of hard to see it. Like a peak will come in between you and it, and like the trees will get in your way and stuff. But you get to a point where you've got a little hill where you can kind of see the top of the tower over the trees. It's from this point you can see that the tower's in the middle of a big clearing, like several hundred feet wide. It looks like it was probably purposefully cleared out and trees never grew back around it. And so there's like a bunch of trees around it and then a clearing with the tower in the middle. But y'all get to a little hill where you can see the top of the tower over the trees. You can't really see into the clearing real well.
Okay, so we're 4 miles from the tower.
Yeah, so you can see it off in the distance. This, kind of elevation, you can see its silhouette really well against the, white sky background.
So Shadow is going to get still, and he is going to cast Primeval Awareness.
Okay.
So I'll be sensing whether any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead are present within 6 miles.
What? Why did you emphasize dragons like that?
Uh-huh.
Within 6 miles, because it's your favorite terrain?
Yeah.
And do you find out what you sense or not? I think I've told you
Yes,
what
I
you
do.
sensed in the past. Okay.
I do find out what I sense.
So you cast the awareness and kind of, I imagine like Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the little whoop, 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 whoop circles that they do in that show, kind of sensing out everything around you, but it extends out, through the trees and plants and everything, and every little, living thing lights up as it emanates out, and you feel the openness of the tower and everything around you, and you feel this like heart clenching terror energy that just is an overwhelming sense of command and power that you know to be the sense of a dragon.
Awesome. Okay, guys, Hishinog is nearby.
How do you know that?
I don't want to talk about her. Hey, so I think we need to see if we can't get the horses up under some cover.
Is that the big ass thing that flew over us, the dragon?
Yeah, it's a full-grown white dragon.
Lovely.
Indeed. So, can we see any, tree cover or something that might be thick enough to put the horses in where we think they might be safe?
Yeah, there's like one more dip valley between you and the kind of plateau that the mountain is on. The trip from here through the valley to the plateau where the tower is at is going to be all pretty heavily wooded.
Okay. So we'll get up into the trees a little bit and find a real thick canopy and tie the horses off to trees, or at least Shadow's going to tie his horse off.
Yeah, you even find like a little spring coming out of the wall that's just warm enough to keep from freezing up here.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
I'll follow.
We'll follow and do the same.
Same.
All right. So you guys tie your horses off.
Okay, guys.
What's the plan?
Well, there's not a lot of options here. What does Shadow know about Hishinog from his life, his decades in these mountains?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Like I've said before, he comes out like once a decade or so. You've done a little research on him since you know he's a white dragon. You know that they tend to be the more animalistic dragons. They're expert hunters. They're not much into the scheming and conniving so much as like I said, they're more animalistic than a lot of the other dragons. And so he comes out and feeds and then goes back into a deep hibernation.
Well, guys, we can sit here for a time and wait for the dragon to go off. I don't know if that will give us enough time to get in the tower and figure out what's going on. Or we can go in there and just try our luck and see what happens. Or we can get close, and y'all can hide, and I can go try to talk to Hishinog. And if something happens, y'all can head back to my folks' place.
Well, I didn't come all this way to hide, so I'm ready whenever you guys are. You just tell me what the plan is.
Yeah, does this place have like a front door or anything like that? Or do we just walk up, knock, and someone will let us in?
Well, I mean, the last tower, you know, there was a squirrel and a monkey, and they were talking in our heads, and there was lots of other things in there, and things died, and we almost died. And
One
it
thing
was
I
bad.
didn't describe too well, I didn't really describe the tower much from your 4-mile view, but you would have been able to see these things. On top of it were several very large discs that were like supported with like metal frameworks pointing up towards the sky, but you could tell even from that distance that a couple of them were like ajar, and you could see large portions of the stone tower that were missing and decrepit and stuff.
Is this what this tower's always looked like, Shadow?
This is about as close as I've ever gotten, to be honest with you.
You know, that's fair, actually.
Oh man.
I say we get a little closer, and then we can make our next move.
Okay. I need to know, out of character, if y'all are fine getting eaten by a dragon.
I'm ready.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
Okay. Joey, if Illyria gets eaten by a dragon, are you leaving us?
It only makes sense.
Mhm.
Look, it's not dramatic if I just come back right in the next session.
Oh my god.
I'd give it a few
Right?
session buffer at least, right?
Gotta give it at least a couple sessions. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to see. I didn't want to upset anybody if we stumble in there and get fucking bit in half. And
Oh, that's
it.
not gonna happen. No.
That. Yet.
No.
That's the fun of it. The stakes, baby.
All right. I just want to make sure we were all on the same page.
The big juicy ribeyes.
I feel like it'd be a pretty epic way for Shadow to go out anyway.
No!
All right. Okay.
Y'all tell me, what are y'all doing?
All right, guys. We're not going to sneak, because if Hishinog sees us sneaking, then it'll be immediate game on. We're not going to be aggressive, because once again, immediate game on. We're just going to walk straight up to the tower.
Oh, so we are going to knock, huh?
We'll see when we get there. But for now, just walk purposefully, but without aggression and without sneaking.
Knocking. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like walking super weird. He's like trying to
be
do
cool.
like trying to be confident, but like not too confident.
I can
He's like
totally
poke
see
his
it.
chest out, then he like kind of hunches over, like, oh no, that's too much. And yeah,
Oh my
he's gonna do
gosh.
like a cool guy walk.
Shadow's just doing the stereotypical dad walk in a mall.
Just straight, looking straight
Just
ahead,
looking straight ahead. Just
stiff as a board,
yeah,
weaving in and out
yeah,
of
dodging
the
trees.
obstacles.
My
Yeah,
outward composure seems to be calm. Inward, not calm at all.
just rabbit heart, just.
Yeah, exactly.
Talik pulls out the decanter of endless wine as we're walking and takes a big gulp and slips it over to Alirlock.
Thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Shadow looks out of the corner of his eye and kind of reaches his hand back and kind of like does a little handshake motion for the decanter. Takes the biggest draw off of it that Talik's ever seen him take.
I just go, uh-oh, under my breath.
So, you guys come walking up this hill. The snow and wind is just getting more and more intense every step you take as you pass through these thick evergreens. As you trudge through the snow, you feel the biting cold pain, but as you walk and start to get really close to the tower, you can actually start to make out the tower through the trees just barely in the distance. All of a sudden, the storm seems to subside a little bit, almost as if you're in like the eye of a swirling hurricane. It just gets really still and cool and crisp. But as you pass through the last few hundred feet, the snow begins to get thinner under your feet, and the crunch of fresh powder is replaced by the crunching of loose pine needles under your feet and soft, loamy soil. And by the time you reach the clearing of the tower, you look out into this field that you were just looking at from the mountaintop a few hours ago, and you see the tower ahead, not broken down or decrepit at all, actually in very well kept, pristine condition, and between you and it, a verdant, grassy field. As you're taking all of this in, you look up to the top of the tower and you actually see humanoids standing up on top of the tower. And then you notice that there's actually some milling about around on the bottom. And about that time, two elves step out from the woods right next to you and say, "Halt! State your purpose." And y'all all make me a perception check.
Shit.
22. My God, I hope the dice are nicer to me tonight.
Right?
22. You look around Talik, you look around Shadow, and you notice that it's not just these couple of elves next to you. There are over half a dozen elves, all in the trees around you with arrows trained on you, bow and arrows, pointed at you. You look at these elves, and they're in armor with shields and scimitars, or rather elven curved blades, like those long straight blades that curve right at the end. And as you're looking across their demeanor, you see that they've got this golden plate armor that's all, interlocked together, and these awesome capes on their back, and clasping the cape on their chest is a familiar symbol to Shadow, because it's the same symbol as the sunstone that he's turned over in his hands many times. They state again, "Shall I let the archers loose their arrows now, or will you speak in our presence?"
I mean, if you shoot one of us, then I'm going to kill you. But I'd rather not do that because you seem like a nice guy.
You'd be full of arrows before you had a chance.
That's probably true.
I have my hands up in the air.
Shadow's just sitting there nonchalantly, resting on with his both hands on the top of his glaive, stuck in the ground like a walking stick, blade down. No aggression shown at all.
So about that time, a elven woman walks up, clearly some higher rank based on her accoutrement and armor. She says, "What the hell's going on here? Who are these three?" The guard who was questioning you says, "Don't know, ma'am. They just walked out of the woods."
Shadow steps towards her with his hand outstretched, and he lets his glaive stay stuck in the ground behind him, and he reaches out and he says, "Some people call me Shadow. I'm from these mountains, and these are my companions. What's your name?"
"My name is Elalon. Shadow, you say? And what mountains exactly do you think you're in right now?"
Well, clearly we were just in the Eclarian mountain range, but right at this exact moment, I'm not sure where we are. Elalon? And Shadow is using some behavior that Talik and Alirlock have never noticed before. He's carrying himself kind of with an air of elven authority, even though he's half elf. He's not backing down from all the glittering gold armor.
"Shadow, eh? Of the Eclarian Mountains. Well, you're in the mountains of a sort, but a mirror to that world. This is the Feywild."
Oh shit.
Well, guys, time to go home.
"I would welcome you, if times were not so dire."
Well, Elalon, let's put all of our cards on the table. And Shadow reaches out and produces the Sunstone.
You hear like a gasp from one of the guards nearby, but Elalon stays stiff. She says, "Where did you get that?"
Oh, angry little Fey girl about this high, runs around causing mischief, tortures me in my sleep.
She kind of squints her eyes and looks at you sideways. She's like, "What could it be?" She snaps her fingers, and one of the other guards who hasn't been real rude to you walks up next to her. She whispers something to him, and they run off towards the tower. She says, "At the moment, I'm very busy here at the tower, but I believe that someone might want to see you back in town."
Well, boys, y'all want to go to town? This seems a lot better than fighting an adult white dragon.
How the fuck did we get into the Feywild? I thought we were just in the regular world.
Yeah, what the hell?
You just don't question it. That's what I've learned about the Fae. You just don't. You just do. You just go with it.
Yeah. Well, we followed you this far. I guess we'll follow you into another realm.
About that time, a very young elf actually still has some boyish features to him. So, for elf, very young, walks up. He says, "You called Elalon?" She says, "Yes. This is Thanarel. He will take you to Solaria." She turns to the boy. She says, "When you get there, tell them to take these guests to see Isolania." His eyes kind of go wide, and she's like, "Are you sure?" She takes a moment. She's like, "I'm not certain, but something tells me fate may have blessed us this day. Hurry along now." Veneral's like, "Oh, okay, follow me. I know all the best shortcuts. And stay close. We don't want anybody getting lost here."
Sure thing.
So Shadow slips the Sunstone back into his pocket and pops his glaive up out of the ground, gives a wink to the guard that stopped him to begin with.
He slowly resheaths his sword, just kind of grimaces. Okay, so Thanarol begins taking you guys. I guess I should drop some spellings for these so Seth doesn't lose his absolute
God,
mind.
My notes right now are a tragedy.
There's a bunch of
Oh, man.
blank spaces he can fill in.
Basically,
Oh man,
I've got Elalon, Solaria, Islania, Themaril. Thanarol. What the?
Thanarol.
Okay. There's an
Thanarol.
Elalon.
There is an O in Elalon. How would you spell Elalon?
Elalan is how I spelled it. I don't care how it's spelled.
Okay, so the boy starts moving through the underbrush, and as you guys are moving through, it very quickly goes from the evergreen forest that you guys have been seeing to just bizarro, weird stuff. I mean, like giant mushrooms, purple glowing ferns and plants, all sorts of mosses and creeping vines that seem to move anytime you're not looking at them, but as soon as you glance at them, they curl back up and stuff. As you're moving through all of this, occasionally Thenaril will like point to certain rocks. He'll be like, okay, we got to go here, here, and here, and you like do these little jumps, and when you get through your jumps, you're in like a totally different biome. Instead of it being all mushroomy, it'll be like spikes of stalagmites, but there's no roof overhead to have dropped them. And you continue on this way for a couple of hours before finally he pushes aside a large fern leaf, and in front of you see this gorgeous river opening up and actually splitting around a little island, and on that island is built this huge gleaming city of gold and marble. Thenaril just takes a moment and kind of leans against the tree, says, well, boys, welcome to Solaria.
Okay.
Shadow's in awe.
Is this the same? Like, did we go into some portal or something? What's going on?
We were just walking. And
That's what I thought. Did I hit my head?
Let me tell you guys. You know, I'm always bitching and moaning about the crazy lady and stuff, doing things to me and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's because she's a Fae. And this, as you've heard, is the Feywild. Well, here's what you need to understand about all that. You can't understand it, so stop trying.
Okay.
Shadow is
it.
triggered.
I take another swig.
I start trying to devise a plan to undo my modified memory.
That's so harsh. So he says, all right, follow me. And he just like ducks underneath a low-hanging branch. And as you follow him and duck underneath the low-hanging branch, next thing you know, you're standing at the entrance to a huge marble building, and you're in the middle of the city, and there's a buzz of energy around as elves are going to and fro, and just kind of murmuring, and they, some people will spot you and kind of point to you. Some of them act a little bit timid, but others act very intrigued by you as you're walking through the city. Thenaril says, well, y'all wait here for just a moment. I'm going to run inside and let them know that you're here. And he goes through a little side door in this big, giant, doored marble building and goes in. And he doesn't actually come back out. A regular guard type person comes out of the main door. He says, please come in. And he opens up the giant door and ushers you guys to enter.
Sure. Okay.
He says, the queen will see you now. And waves you inwards.
The queen.
Queen.
Okay, so as you guys enter this marble hall, there's gold everywhere and sun motifs everywhere you look, emblazoned on the door before you entered it. But mixed in with that is trees and just natural things blended into the stone and gold architecture to keep it from being too harsh. Soft fabrics hung on the curtains of the windows and everything like that. As you enter, you notice that at the far side of the room sits a beautiful elven woman who is sitting on a throne, and there's actually like a sun ray coming in from above and just perfectly ensconcing her throne. And so she literally sits in the middle of a beam of sun.
Shadow steps forward and gives a textbook elven bow. Keeps his eyes down and says, "Your Majesty, I presume."
Tolik does the same behind him, but I like to think I like drop something out of my pocket or something and like clangs across the floor. Oh, I'm sorry, your honor.
Her attendant next to her actually speaks before she does. I present the Eladrin Queen, Isolania, Queen of the Solar Elves. And she steps forward. I'm going to drop some art in the Discord so you can see her. She's got this gorgeous elven features, very striking jawline, sharp pointy ears, full white hair with a golden crown on top, emblazoned with azure jewels. She stands up from her throne and takes a couple of steps forward, and she even does like a little courtesy bow back towards you, and she says, "Welcome, esteemed guests. It is with great honor that we receive you here today."
Tolik is in love.
Shadow raises his head when she begins to speak, and he says, "Thank you, Your Majesty. My name is Stan, and these are my companions, Tolik and Alirlock."
Hi.
Hello,
Make me a insight check.
everyone, or
Sure.
15? No, 22? Sorry.
18.
18. Okay. You actually you don't notice anything. You're dumbstruck, but Alirlock, you notice a slight catch in her throat while Shadow's talking. You're not sure exactly what caused that, but you see like a tightening in her body, almost imperceptible, but something caught her off guard or something while he was introducing himself. She says, "Well, welcome, Stin, Tolik, and Alirlock. Please, if you will, we would be happy to host you for the evening and learn what it is that's brought you to our doorstep. I hope that it is more than a coincidence, for I believe that fate might be involved here today."
Fate? Well, I don't know about fate, but Your Majesty, one thing I do know is that when we met the very polite, yet a little on edge, Elalon at the forest, we had a brief conversation, but she only asked that we come to see you once she saw this, and Shadow produces a sunstone. And he watches her very closely as he unfurls his fingers to show it to her, and he reaches his hand out.
She slowly just like glides down the stairs and glides the couple of feet over to you and reaches her hand out, palm down, just like reaching a couple of fingers out. And she stops right before she reaches it, and she says, "May I?" And looks in your eyes.
Absolutely.
Travels that last inch and touches it with her middle finger, and when she does, it begins to glow. At first just a warm light, and then slowly it builds to a blinding light that just completely fills the room, and you see that all the marble in the room has like gold veins inlaid in it, and it all begins to sparkle and almost swirl around the room amongst you all. And she just lets out a subtle smile, and she says, "Yes, I do believe fate is in our hands today. Come, let's retire somewhere more comfortable. she turns to walk out a side door and motions for you guys to follow her.
Shadow just totally is good with it and just follows along like he's walking in the woods.
Okay. So she walks out of the door and takes
The
you
other
guys.
come with us.
Oh yeah, I assumed they would.
Oh,
I
yeah.
never know with those two.
Oh yeah.
All right, so she takes you guys to like a little tea area, garden space that's got, laid out a couple of tables, and it's got like some cushions and blankets and stuff like that laid out in a beautiful little garden area. And a couple of servants actually come up and bring you guys like some, cucumber sandwiches or whatever else eat for a snack. What are those grape leaf wrapped things with like the rice and the meat? They're like the Mediterranean thing. Those things.
Spanakopita.
Yeah. Brings you some of that stuff. And anyways, you mentioned Elalon. She's definitely very preoccupied. Her position is very difficult, but I trust her immensely. You see, on your side of the world, the tower that we built long ago, known to your people as Rising Sun Tower, is fallen into disarray and been taken over by a great host of animals who have recently left and been replaced by a great white dragon. This magical energy that he creates causes rifts between the Feywild and the material plane on which you normally reside, and has been causing more monsters and unsavory creatures, upsetting of the spirits, and other problems near the Rising Sun Tower here that we man and rely on in order to provide us the energy that we so desire and need. And as she's saying that, she's taking you guys up onto the roof and is showing y'all she did another one of those things where you like walk through an archway and like you're on top of the roof of the building, and you see this like giant satellite dish, for lack of a better word, that's pointing off to the east towards Rising Sun Tower. And on the back of the satellite dish is this, think like a Tesla rod, like several, stepping down sort of things, but it's, instead of being a ball at the end, it's like a telescope, and it's currently beaming a beam of light, and you can see it travel all the way back, and it's like as far as you can make out on the horizon, this point of light goes to, and you see it creating a shine way out at that point of light.
Okay.
Just as the rising and setting of the sun are essential to us here in Solaria.
Well, that's understandable, but what do you mean by essential?
It is the very essence of our life. Were the Rising Sun Tower to fall, then I'm afraid all in Solaria would perish, fade to gray, and shortly after, perish.
Why?
It is the same as you needing to eat. We must bask in the warmth of the sun.
Wait, are you from the Feywilds?
Yes, this is our home. We live here. I am an Eladrin, and y'all make me a history check on Eladrin. Y'all can't bitch about this word that I'm about to put in the Discord, because
Okay.
this is that's a D&D word.
16.
I know.
Oh my god,
10
you
and
spell it
16
like
is
that?
two.
No, I'm just kidding.
Son
don't
of a
care.
bitch. So even a 10's good enough to know that the Eladrin are elves that are native to the Feywild. They are race of elves that are not home to the material plane. They're home to the Fey wilds, and you know that they're very different than elves that live on the material plane. They operate by different rules and different lifestyles.
So, what is Elalon doing?
Yes, so Elalon is defending the Rising Sun Tower that captures the early morning rays and sends them here to us. The spirits have been restless, and that's caused more monsters to gather, and so there's been all manner of issues and concerns that threaten the very stability of the tower and our ability to keep a post there.
Hmm.
I'm sure you noticed they were a bit on edge.
No, they seemed like just doing their job, just regular guard duty. Talik, did you think they were on edge?
I've been on edge since we got here, wherever the fuck we are.
Oh, I see.
No
Well-
offense, my love, my liege.
None taken.
So, Your Highness, I'm a little baffled why you're being so. What's the word? Honest.
You think me to be a Fey myself?
We're in the Feywilds.
An understandable concern, but I assure you, there's a large difference between us Eladrin and the Seelie and Unseelie courts.
Yeah, I don't know what those words are, but there's an angry little woman torturing me. Do you know her?
I do.
Oh boy. Talik,
We are tenuous in our relationship. We call her Ancella, although I know not what her full name is. She has been very interested in you for a very long time. Yes, Stin, in you.
You can call me Shadow. Everybody calls me Shadow, except her, and it drives me crazy.
I see. I was hoping that. I just always thought this moment would go a little bit differently. I suppose I should go ahead and let you know what's going on here. I believe that the fates have brought you here because you and your companions have a very special purpose. Not only to aid my kingdom, but to aid the kingdom of your father, for whom I was married to for a great many years before I bore you,
The fuck?
my son.
What the fuck?
I know this is probably a lot to take in all at once, but the stone is proof. There's no doubting it. That stone was taken by Ancella a long time ago, and is meant to go to the heir of Solaria. Apparently, she somehow figured out that that was you. And I'm not sure how it got into your hands, but I assume she had something to do with it. Now, I regret I must ask you for something that I believe you and your group were meant to do. That is, I need you to help us. I need you to defeat the great dragon Hishinag and end the plight on our land.
Find out what happens to our party next week. Check us out at dndndummies.com. And please leave us a rating and a review on your podcast app. It would mean the world to us.
Man, I got so hot and bothered earlier. I had to take my pants off and turn the fan on.
Oh,
You freeballing it over there?
No, I have underwear on.
Like, oh my
Be
god,
gross.
it's real hot.
I feel like if you take off too many clothes, it makes you sweatier. Am I the only one that feels like that? Like I like to wear a light cotton t-shirt when it's really hot because I feel like it kind of, absorbs and wicks away some of the
I
sweat.
agree.
If I'm just totally shirtless, then like my pits get sweaty and stuff. Ugh.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Good point. Strange, but good point.
Don't know why we're talking about it, but